Um, okay. I I'm here for real, I think, but I don't think it's receiving the video, which is problematic. I clicked the stream but oh no, there is video. Okay. Hello. I like I was saying to myself, um I have no idea how this sounds. I have no idea how this looks. Today will be probably a short brief stream unless like things work perfectly. Mainly just to test everything. I almost wanted to just come on to stream and just start making noises. I was heavily considering it because it would have made me laugh. And because it would be like, oh, I've been away for so long, I don't speak English anymore, I speak Simlish. And that was going to be the whole joke. But whenever I clicked the go live button, I forgot entirely about bits. And all I knew was making sure that things worked. If only you knew Simlish. Yeah, I'm not fluent, and maybe that would be problematic if I were to try to whip out the Simlish impersonation on stream. I don't mean to be insensitive. Um, but you know, at one point it would have been fun. Back in my day, we could have made as many Simlish jokes as we wanted. Um, but yeah, it's been a real long time since I've streamed. Thank you, Holland, for being here. Um, it's kind of funny. I feel like well, first of all, what a year. Um, I went through a phase of at the end of last year, I was picking up some momentum, threw it all away whenever I got a specific job. And then a couple of months ago, I was picking up some momentum, and then I threw it all away. What did I do 2 months ago? I had to move and stuff. But I'm in a totally different spot now, which is interesting. Hold on. I forgot to even set up my chat so I can like read both the chats. I'm just gonna have to do this a different way. Hold on. Because technically, like, I am streaming on both the Twitch and YouTube. I forgot what the other one was called for a minute. Um, there's so much stuff whenever thinking about this that I am completely overwhelmed because it's been 2 months. I figure, I mean, for the most part, I guess it is like, oh, go ahead, ride your little bicycle, and you kind of stick with it throughout the entirety of your life. But I think like if you stop riding your bike at like 24 and then you tried to pick it back up 75, you don't really use your legs all that much anymore. You're likely falling over and destroying any sense of self that you have remaining, and you either end up in the nursing home or in the ground very, very deep. As unfortunate as that is. But I have figured it out, so I am neither in the ground or in the nursing home. Well, we might be in the nursing home. I wasn't sure how loud my fan was gonna be, so I decided to turn it off, but now it's kind of hot in here. So I don't know. Today I guess I'll have to make a whole lot of noises just to see like where things stand. Like fan. Hold on. I can test that right now. Yeah, I really don't think it'll be all that much. It's just the problem is that the problem is like I moved and with the move I'm in a totally different spot, and I don't if you can hear that, it's it sounds like a train trying to come to a stop. So can you hear that? It was like in a big circle around. I think it's calmed a little bit. If I talk quietly, then it's like I don't disturb it. You can hear some creaking from time to time. That's unfortunate. I'll probably have to mess with some of the noise settings. What are they called? A gate and whatnot. But I'll do that in my own time. But yes, got a new job. And now I have more time and in a more good spot, and so streaming has returned for a minute. Okay, so like at the beginning of the year, whenever I quit the first time, that was because of teaching. I was teacher. I was a teacher for a very brief moment, and I was like, oh, I can't stream while I'm teaching. Well, that was part of the thought, but then I realized I didn't have the energy to stream while teaching, and so I quit the first time there. Then I quit and was unemployed for a little bit, and I streamed for a little while, but then I had to focus on moving and getting a job and stuff again. That's why I stopped again. I think I don't even remember my own life story at this point. Congrats on employment, thank you. It's a necessary part of this whole cycle. But whenever I was thinking about like, okay, how do I do an introductory stream? I had all these ideas, and I was like, I don't know how to execute any ideas. And so instead I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a little bit of gaming. But then I don't know like even how things would work while in the new apartment. So instead it's just become the most awkward setup of all time. But yeah, there was no way I was gonna be successfully streaming while also in the process of moving, and so it all just kind of fell apart. But I've got everything together now. You've got a much happier Joe Bob, a much more health conscious Joe Bob, which really should keep me more adept and agile and on my toes. I'm sure you can tell by the way of speech more good. But I've got like a smoothie over here. I've gotten pretentious. Well, really, I've taken a step away from pretentiosity, but there's something about a smoothie. I got handed a free blender, and so it all just kind of got dumped in there. A more mentally and physically healy Jube. Thank you. What was I calling the jigglers? I don't even remember, but I was considering I have some indie horror games. I was considering playing Voices of the Void today, which is like an indie horror game thing where you mess with like some disc towers that hear into the space. Or they don't get cable. They're more impactful than cable. But I've never opened the game once in my entire life, and also this kind of made me cry a little bit. It didn't literally make me cry, but it gave like the same kind of emotion of crying. I opened whenever I needed to make a thumbnail for the first test stream. Congratulations on being number one on the chat leaderboard, by the way, Holland. I'm just now noticing that this is like a thing. This feels so awkward. So if you spam just enough, if you spam it real good, you will be the only person I acknowledge. Oh, welcome, Ryan. Sorry, I'm a complete and total mess right now. I have no idea if you are still actively here. But I have a YouTube stream and a Twitch stream. I forgot that I had the Twitch stream, and so I'm just now looking at the Twitch stream and seeing the Twitch chat. Or if that's not satisfactory, you could just say that I'm mentally deranged. But I would prefer not to have that kind of reputation. If that's okay. But if there's any issues over here, go ahead and let me know. I think everything's working. It's an awkward time, Ryan, because you're coming in. I just moved back into my space. The people have allowed me access back into my own home, and as such, the living space is completely messed up, unoccupied in the worst way, and it's just now being reoccupied. There's roaches and maggots everywhere, but that will be cleaned up over time. So not mentally deranged, very mentally sound, I think, in my opinion. But that's why things are so awkward and erratic right now. Things are usually never erratic. They could never be completely erratic. Actually, let me see if I can get the chat back on screen. I remember setting all that up like half a year ago. So maybe it'll be easy to just get going again. Hold on. What was the thing called? Stream Ninja. And then I believe I just capture this. I hope that it all just kind of sort of transfers over, but otherwise I have literally no idea. So if I click on you, let me hit a quick test message. It does not. It doesn't. Oh, I have to activate it. Hold on. There we go. And then we activate here. Yes. Okay. And now if I click here and I send a test message, perfect. I should be able to go to my chat box, get a little thing in here, and I believe I just replace that with this. And now, theoretically, it should just work, I hope. Let me post a test message over here. Let me post a third test message is at the chat box. And then a first test message has hit the YouTube chat box. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I don't mean to ignore you completely. It works. I understand your discomfort, Ryan, but I'll treat you better in the future. It's real. I'm glad. What an awkward kind of thing, though, right? I'm happy to see that like somebody is showing up for the Twitch. Twitch had a very bad. I streamed on Twitch maybe like 5 times or something before I stopped. The only 2-ish chatters, 2 to 3-ish chatters that I ever got on Twitch were bots that really wanted to be friends with me, and it was really weird. So it's unfortunate that Ryan, our first human chatter, came in while I was completely naked. I wish he didn't have to see that sight, but from now on, Ryan will be fine. I'll be clothed from here on. I'm not used to having visitors anymore. I invited everyone into my own home while I wasn't wearing pants. Your cool crown doesn't show up though. That's probably okay. Honestly, it clutters a whole lot, and I think this chat leaderboard thing might be one of the dumbest things that I have seen in my entire life. But I don't want to over exaggerate. So how do I make the chat? Oh, there it goes. It just appears on the OBS. I don't have to look at either OBS or Twitch now at this point. Anyway, where I was talking about Voices of the Void. Unhappy, yeah. I think that you're the same as everyone else, buddy. Just because you know how to type a letter here and there doesn't make you any more special than anyone else. If it did, and we could speech to text my voice, I could have you beat. This is my chat. I could take the crown if I really wanted to. But I imagine that I'm probably not allowed to by YouTube. I have a superior above me. They're holding back my growth. But I was talking about I went to the thumbnail folder to go back to like 5 minutes ago or whatever. I went into my thumbnail folder just to see to make the thumbnail for this stream on the YouTube side, and it hit me like realizing like, oh, my great grandpa is dead. I opened the folder. Silent Hill 4 thumbnail was already made. I almost started streaming Silent Hill 4 before I stopped streaming 2 months ago. Because, you know, I went through the Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, the OGs. I was about to finally start the 4th one, which, I mean, I won't complain. I already have like something set up for whenever I stream a game like normal, just with the plan and everything, because I was sticking to the thumbnails, and I kept coping. After I stopped streaming, I was like, I'm gonna upload the video that I had been working, because I had been working on a video about some music and video games, and it was basic. I finished the script probably 3 times now, but I think I was holding off on it, and by this point, with how long it has taken, I think I started working on that thing like November of 2023, which is insane. I think you could track back to a community post on YouTube of a post in November 2023 saying, I got a video project, you can probably expect it by the end of the year. And then the end of the year came and there was nothing. And then another end of a year came and there was still nothing. But behind the scenes, welcome Koi. It has been a very long time. I don't know if this is audible, but like I keep kind of leaning over to the right side of the mic because it's comfortable, but I should probably stop doing that. If this were binaural, I could like kiss you right on the right side of your cheek. But unfortunately, we've only got one ear that's shared between the two. You're mono, buddy. But yeah, long time no see. I haven't streamed in forever. My online presence took a very hard step back for a little while. But now I'm back, brighter, smarter, greater, probably. Taller, for sure. Grander. What good adjectives are there? Than ever. So it won't be too long now. I hope the things have been going well for you, Koi. What was I? Oh, Silent Hill. Yeah, and since I've been gone this year, Death Stranding 2 came out, which is awesome. And then they've got Silent Hill F coming out in September, Metal Gear Solid Delta in August. So this year is kind of just stacked for me. And if I can make the financials happen to buy those games, I plan on probably streaming the both of them. I'm huge on all the Kojimas, and at this point, I would say Silent Hill is one of those series for me, where it'll be like an always buy, always play kind of thing, unless they decide to be bad again, which I would really hope that they don't, because Silent Hill F looks pretty sick. But I think so far it's looking good. But I have the Silent Hill 4 ready to play. I have the Voices of the Void ready to play. I'll probably do those on separate streams. Today can just be like the test and catch up, and then I can listen back and hear how annoying the fan above my head is. I also am curious, is everything streaming okay? I think Twitch said that it was unstable. First time streaming in the new apartment, first time streaming from this internet. So everything is just kind of like figure it out as I go for now, adjust it, and then probably be back for realsies. Wednesday. They also announced Resident Evil 9, which that looks insane. It looks really, really cool. And then there was the interview saying Leon can't be the main character because he wouldn't be scared of anything. Which means, like, I mean, based off of the trailer, it looks like an actual horror game, which is exciting, because I feel like for a long time it just wasn't. I can switch between the scenes and stuff. This is actually so sick. And also, because I was playing Death Stranding and I wanted to stream it to some friends in Discord, I have a capture card now, which increases a lot of options, because there's a lot of games on there for like the PlayStation Classics or whatever. So I could conveniently run those through there instead of having to set up an emulator and everything. But at this point, now that I have a capture card and everything, I also kind of just want to see if I can get my hands on a PS2 or something at some point. The small time Strand streams have been nice. You're welcome. They're basically private, for your eyes only. But I was thinking about, like, technically there's nothing stopping me just starting to stream that in the middle of the game, just on like YouTube and stuff. But I feel like I don't know if I want to do that, because it's one of those games where it feels like it's mine, you know? Like you could walk in on me and I would blush because I'm playing Death Stranding 2, and it's my intimate moment. It's for me and my private life only. And also apparently because they have some freaky stuff in it that I have not seen yet. So maybe you walked in on one of those scenes. They're focusing on one of the characters' dogs, and I don't know how to handle it. I had to have a sit down. I remember I played Yakuza Kiwami whenever I was in high school, so obviously still living with my family. And that has a game mode in it called Mesu King, and it's necessary for the Amon fights, which the Amon fights are just like a fight where you have to complete everything, like all the side quests and everything in the game, to be able to fight them, and they're like insanely difficult and whatnot. They're the big final post-final boss fight, and they're always like a joke and whatnot. I did the Amon fight for Yakuza 0, so I kind of had it in my head like, okay, for each Yakuza game, I'm going to complete everything that's required to fight the Amon. And in Kiwami, that meant Mesu King. And Master King was a game mode where you collected hot, sexy cockroaches and had them fight against each other. They would have like cards and stuff where it would be a lady in like a cockroach costume, and you know, it had a certain style to it. And I didn't. My brother would frequently hot cockroach rock paper scissors. That's right. That's right. I'm glad that you're initiated. My brother would frequently walk in to watch me play Yakuza, and I remember like eventually he's gonna walk in and see this, and I'm not gonna know how to explain it. So I decided to just beat him to the punch. Where like I was starting up the game, and I called him into the room and I sat him down and I was like, so at some point you're gonna walk in here and there's going to be a half-naked cockroach on the screen. I need you to be understanding. In this moment, I am not gooning. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm not gooning. No one is gooning. I'm just playing rock, paper, scissors that is necessary for the Amon fight. And whenever you walk in here, this is completely natural. There's no reason to be scared. Giving him a pep talk like it's the birds and the bees. I mean, this was probably a bigger deal than the birds and the bees, to be completely honest with you. This is like reputation defining. And you know, it's one thing, and gooner as a word didn't exist yet, so I don't know the exact wordage that I used to tell him, but like all those words have been replaced in my mind by words that would more easily be used now. I don't know when the goons like started, when the goons showed up, but what is this? Top fans? I can just click and see your ratings as you go. Congratulations, Holland, you have 125 XP. Koi, you have 25 XP with Jury and Shobidium tied for second. Now you've spoken the most recently, so you are in second place. But you should know and you should be aware that that could be surrendered to anyone at any time. Okay? So nothing is guaranteed. You might be far gone by the end of everything. But it was reputation defining, and I wasn't ready to be an open gooner. You know, there's nothing fun about that, and so I decided to hold back on just some accidental walk-ins, because that would be embarrassing. There's certain things where it's like, how do you explain that? Gooning has been around for over a decade, but only recently exploded in popularity. I thought the whole goal was to never explode. But that's kind of insane. So there's some OG gooners. They were gooning before it was cool, 10 years ago. Look, buddy, I've been gooning since before you graduated. Since before you were born. My bad. You're okay. I forgive you. But my mind is at a complete halting stop. But just to check in, how's the fan noise? Is it bad? Is that something that needs to be adjusted? Because that's kind of like the main test that I want to know before I start setting up real streams. Because the internet seems to be handling it just fine. And if the internet's handling it just fine, then fan noises left, or you just haven't noticed it since it started. That's great. That's like all I want to hear. So fan is okay. I don't have to sit in here and cook myself. I was listening to Lord of the Rings. Being narrated by Andy Serkis, which like anybody should do. It's kind of fun getting like really invested in an audiobook because like you kind of forget, at least the ones that are more like a performance, you kind of forget that the person is just like one guy doing the voice. And so Andy Serkis is the voice of Schmeagol in the movies. He's the voice of Gollum. So, you know, he's like, my precious is his default for most people. But then he narrates those books and he gets like into those characters, and so now I'm realizing like Galadriel, Éowyn, all the fair maidens. I have the voice of Gollum just as the most recent version of them in my head. Not that he's speaking like Gollum for all of the characters, but to me, I think of like, oh, a hot warrior lady, and I think of Andy Serkis's voice coming out of their mouth, and it just feels completely natural to me. It's like you just kind of forget where you are, and I imagine it would be like one thing, because I know there's two different readings. One of them is from like Rob Inglis, and that one's supposed to be more of like an archaic document text reading. So I imagine it for that one, it wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm imagining Galadriel as having the voice of an old British man, but just this is an old British man reading Galadriel. But because of the way Andy Serkis does it, like Gollum's voice, Andy Serkis's voice, that is Galadriel's voice. And it's basically the only way that I can imagine it right now, which feels incredibly wrong. I listened to 1984 by Theo Solomon. He narrated it. I think that's his name. The voice actor for Will in Baldur's Gate 3. And I thought it was great, but at the same time, it's like he's Winton, obviously. But then he's also what's her face? Julia. And all I can imagine there is just like a British dude doing like as high pitched of a voice that he can realistically do, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. They're two different people. Theo Solomon, that's right. They're two different people, and it doesn't bother me like whatsoever. It just kind of works like that. And Julia, you know, they keep describing her as like she's hot. Julia's hot. 1984. But then it's like Theo Solomon is like a part of that now. Theo Solomon's voice goes with the Julia that I have imagined in my head, and that is like the crazy pairing that I'm kind of experiencing with the Andy Serkis mixed with Galadriel and Éowyn and whoever. But you know, it works really well because Andy Serkis, he does like the voices, and so Gandalf just feels like Gandalf from like the movies. And I feel like at this point I would go back to the movies, and it would be a non Andy Serkis Gandalf, and it would feel slightly wrong. But I've been enjoying it greatly. I've been trying to read more read more lately, because I'd stopped reading for a little while, but that is just how that is. But yeah, cool test stream. Unfortunately, I am gonna cut things at least a little short. Well, not a little, very, very, very short, because I had literally no plans for the stream. This was just to make sure that things still worked, and then maybe play a game. I am still working on getting moved. And honestly, I'm tired today. So this one as the test stream will remain the test stream. Half an hour of talking and like minorly catching up. But I will be back for a full like length stream. I plan on Wednesday, I believe. Tomorrow I want to go and move like probably the last of my stuff out of my old apartment, and then Wednesday I think I can commit to a full length stream, whether it be like Silent Hill or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that I do want to stream. And you know, there's like a game sale going on right now. I have to decide whether I want to grab any of that, but yes, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Good half hour, everyone. Good half hour. Thank you, Holland. Thank you, Koi, for stopping by while I was here. I will be back for a full like probably 2 to 3 hours or whatever I feel like on Wednesday. So I will see you all hopefully potentially then. You as well, Koi. It feels wrong to click the end stream button after starting the stream. It feels wrong to end it. It's a consistent problem. Someone just flew down the road honking their horn. Also, the car noise is more than my last apartment, so I needed to test that as well. But I will not maybe. I mean maybe for on your and I'll be here for sure on Wednesday. I'll like definitely be here, probably like actually 6:30. Because I had to run some errands today, which is why I hadn't like consumed yet. But I will speak to you all Wednesday with a real setup and real stream and lots of important. Goodbye.